Sorry about that, babe.
Yeah, you probably thought I was going to segue into the Vampire Killer instead of this track, but you know what? Wicked Child goes too hard. Had to do it. Anyways, Castlevania is an action platformer that was developed and published by Konami, released on the Nintendo Entertainment System in North America on May 1st of 1987. There are a couple of different releases and ports of the game, but to reiterate, for the purpose of this review, we will be focusing solely on the NES version. The story of Castlevania is fairly simple. You assume the role of Simon Belmont, a descendant of a legendary vampire hunter, who then enters the castle of Dracula in order to destroy him. I'll say this right up front. Castlevania is one of the finest games on the NES console, and in my opinion, it's the second best in the franchise. One of the grandfathers of whipping treacherous creatures such as zombies, bats, skeletons, and so forth into shape. The controls of Castlevania can take a little bit to get used to. Typically, you are running, jumping, whipping, or using a variety of sub-weapons throughout, such as the Watch, Boomerang, Firebomb, which I'm pretty sure is actually just holy water, but where it can get a bit tricky is in the actual platforming of it all. Simon has a weird jump arc, which is needed to be accounted for upon every elevation. The mechanics of walking up and down the stairs can be a bit tricky too in terms of evading and combat while on them, and Simon's jump arc works in reverse. Yes, sometimes when you get hit, you can get launched backwards, which could spell your doom via pitfall. Even to this day, I'm not 100% perfect with the controls, especially when trying to hammer out sub-weapons and whips on bosses. There will be times where I flub up the patterns and still get hit, and this is coming from someone who beat the game without dying. Which, by the way, if you want to check that out, look at the pinned comment or description below. To me, where Castlevania shines on a technical front, in my opinion, are the graphics and soundtrack. The graphics of Castlevania help portray the ominous, spooky nature of the game, and in certain areas give off this feeling of grit and grunge. The soundtrack is one of the finest to grace the NES console, by far. Just banger after banger after banger. So many of these tracks get stuck in your head for days, and if you're like me, you'll end up making stupid lyrics up to some of the songs. They're that good. Composers Kinuo Yamashita and Satoe Terashima crafted one of the finest musical collections of the era. Castlevania is also perhaps known for its difficulty, and rightfully so. Without proper practice, knowledge, or luck, it could be a big pain in many areas. The aforementioned clunkiness of the platforming and knockback, certain sections that go long stretches without health, or encountering a boss like the Grim Reaper without holy water will likely spell doom throughout. Luckily, when you use your lives, you have the option to continue from the start of the block of stages, or if you want, you can return to the title screen. To put it simply, Castlevania is one of the most fun games of all time. I try to play through at least once every year or so. Time doesn't matter, but it's probably a little bit better around September, October, November, you know what I mean, to kind of get you in the mood. As the series progressed, great games such as Super Castlevania 4, Rondo of Blood, Symphony of the Night, and so on came out, all great in their own right and technical marvels. There's something so humble, so nostalgic, and again, just so fun about the original. It has a charm and spearheaded the franchise into the massively successful direction that it ended up heading. I give Castlevania on the NES an honest 8 out of 10. Perhaps with my bit scale, I could probably skew it to 8.5 or 9, but I'm just being realistic. This game is not without its flaws. The flaws are namely that of the clunkiness in the platforming, some unforgiving sections, and the common theme of the era, perhaps it was just a bit short. Being able to casually complete the game in well less than 25 minutes, it sort of leaves something to be desired. One feature that I found pretty cool was on the Famicom Disk System version, you could actually save your game and pick up on the level that you last left off at, an instance of Japan being much more forgiving to their player base than they were here in America. So perhaps if they would have added some more levels and that save functionality could have been perfect. All that being said, it's freaking Castlevania, man. Play it again. Play it if you haven't already. And go whip some Dracula butt. If you've enjoyed this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing if you haven't already. I do my best to reply to all comments on all videos. Until next time.